This week, Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th President of the United States after a heated election campaign. Among his most prominent supporters were three influential Jewish women, Tanya Zuckerbrot, Sheila Nazarian, and Siggy Flicker, who stood by his side on Election Day and played pivotal roles in his campaign.
Each of them are deeply connected to Israel, proud of their Jewish identity, and influential in their own unique ways. We have the great honor to have you three powerful, amazing women with us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So, first of all, Sheila Nazarian fled Iran with her family at the age of 6, seeking a new life in the U.S. She has since become a leading plastic surgeon and reality TV star, leveraging her platform to advocate for Israel and support Trump's campaign.
Tanya.
Yes, hi, great to be with you.
It's amazing to have you here, Sheila. And Tanya Zuckerbrot, certified nutritionist and founder of F Factor brand, used her platform to advocate for Israel, fight anti-Semitism, and do incredible work supporting Trump's campaign.
And last but not least, Siggy Flicker, born in Jerusalem and the daughter of Holocaust survivor, moved to the U.S. at the age of 5, a former reality TV personality. She has emerged as a passionate advocate for Israel and played a crucial role in Trump's re-election campaign. So hi, Siggy.
Shalom.
Shalom. Let's start our conversation with the incredible moment of Monday night, Inauguration Day. Sheila, you attended the Liberty Ball, which must have been unforgettable. What was the atmosphere like? Share with us, and how did it feel to be part of it?
Well, I have to tell you, I feel like we suffered to get in. It was about 2.5 hours in below zero temperature, standing outside. There was a lot of enthusiasm, but we did it. We sacrificed for Donald Trump. He sacrificed for us. And once inside, it was just great to be with other like-minded people. I like to think of it as conservative Disneyland. It was really fun to see all the MAGA hats and everyone just so excited for the future of America, really.
Amazing. Thank you. Tanya, what emotions ran through your mind while Trump's election, when he was, announced to be the winner?
I had a viewing party here at my home, and there was just so much elation, but even more so relief. The direction our country was heading in was concerning for so many reasons: national security, the economy. But as a Jewish woman with 5 children in college, to see anti-Semitism, on such a national scale, and the Democratic Party failure to really make Jews feel safe. As a mom and as a Jewish woman, I was just so relieved that Trump won the presidency.
As we all. Siggy, what was it like to stand beside Trump on Election Day and witness his victory announcement? That was probably like an amazing moment.
The best feeling in the world. I feel very lucky, first of all, to be a Jew, to be born in our only Jewish homeland, Am Yisrael Chai. I am probably the proudest Israeli and the proudest Trump supporter in the world. I'm happy to be friends with the president. I've traveled with the president because one of my best friends is his attorney. From day one, I left reality TV, I left everything, and my husband said, Siggy, go full force with Donald Trump. And that was about 8 years ago. And I got a lot of heat for it. But I knew in my heart, Israelis trust their gut instinct. This is a friend of Israel. This is a friend of the Jewish people. This is the man that's going to save the world and get rid of jihad, Donald John Trump.
And we'll talk about this friendship with Israel, and the relationship with Israel may be a complicated one. But Tanya, many people saw this election as a turning point, not just politically, but also socially. What did that moment symbolize for you as a Jewish woman standing by Trump?
I think it's about, as an American Jew, really standing by Trump shows our connection to our homeland, Israel, because Trump has been an advocate of Israel. It's been shown in his policies, from the Abraham Accords to the sanctions out of Iran, and also Trump's willingness to fight anti-Semitism here in the United States. So for me, this election was not so much about, national issues, but really my connection. I was a one-issue voter because Israel is our ancestral homeland, and it is our obligation and our privilege as Jews in the diaspora to do whatever is necessary to protect Israel's future.
Amazing. Thank you. We all thank you so much for doing that. Siggy, you're close to Trump. What is he like in person? Is he open to discussion if you guys disagree?
Motek. Trump is a Gemini, so we get along very, very well. I like it because there's no BS with Donald Trump. When he talks to you, it's not like he's a phony. He goes around and around. He gets right to the point, and he's funny. And he's a lover of music. He goes anywhere from listening to Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You, to Phantom of the Opera. But what I love about Donald Trump the most is he's fearless. He's not afraid to call anybody out, and he has common sense. So in the beginning, he used to say, Siggy, what's wrong with your people? I've done so much for your people. Why do they call me an anti-Semite? Don't they know that my daughter is Jewish and my grandchildren are Jewish? I said, Mr. President, not everybody has common sense. So it took a while for people to understand, because he's not polished. He is not a politician. And when he talks, he really speaks from the heart. And he doesn't study his words. And I just find it complete. It's so amazing to be with him because he's so relatable. He is such a relatable person. And I know people watching this are like, relatable, a billionaire, relatable. He is so relatable. Diet Coke, no alcohol, a lover of music, and just he loves America. Everything to him is about saving America, saving America. And to me, Israel is, they consider us, we're best friends. We're the only democracy in the Middle East where gays are not persecuted, where women are not stoned to death, and where Jews, Christian, and Muslims live together. And all the false narratives that are placed on Israel, he is stopping them. And he is not afraid to stand up for Israel amongst the monsters who have been imported throughout the world.
Well, that is my kind of person. Sheila, let's focus on your professional and personal life also. Your platform initially focused on plastic surgery. What inspired you to pivot towards speaking out on anti-Semitism and politics? And how did your partnership with Trump begin?
So I actually started speaking out about 4 years ago because my daughter was applying to the high school that I went to. And I said, she's 4 years away from college. We knew how bad it was on college campuses and how much anti-Semitism there was even back then. And so I started just on my Instagram, #Shabbat Shalom. I was freaking out because in Iran, you didn't even say you were Jewish. You would change your last name to not sound Jewish. And so that went okay. The #Shabbat Shalom went okay. And so I just sort of little by little said I should introduce my global following to Judaism. Many people might not have ever even met a Jewish person. And then the May 2021 conflict happened, and I saw my colleagues just saying occupation, apartheid, genocide, all of those words. And I had more followers than them. So I just went from boobs and Botox to Israel and the Jewish people. And then it kind of waned down from there. And then when October 7th happened, it was kind of like my second go. So I'd already received all the death threats. I've already received all of the followers who left me. I'd already received the backlash in 2021. So for me, after October 7th, it was almost, I already knew this game. I'd already been through it. Whereas a lot of people around me were really devastated to lose friends and to lose followers. So then, coming into this, I was really just trying to support candidates who supported Israel. I might not agree with everything, even on the Democratic side. I didn't agree with a lot of the things that they said, but I did give my support and thanks to those who did support Israel and the Jewish people and who fought anti-Semitism. I think that's important to do so. And then obviously when Trump became the candidate, it was all in for me. You know, the Persian Jews, we escaped socialism. We escaped the flowery words of the left that sound so beautiful and so inclusive, but really all they do is divide and separate people and create chaos, just like it happened in Iran. So for me, I was smelling the same smells and hearing the same sounds, and I was not going to let America go down, because without, you know, America and Israel, they go together. We grow from each other's strengths. We are synergistic. We gain so much from each other. And so for me, it was a matter of survival. I went crazy, posting 8 hours a day as like a second job in support of the Jewish people and Israel, our homeland. And I think that for me, I thought I was going to lose everything, and I was willing to lose everything. But just like Abraham, when he was about to sacrifice his son, the thing he'd prayed hardest for, not only did I get to keep everything, I have gained so much more. So I highly recommend following your soul, following your core values, being true to yourself. God rewards the authentic.
Wow,
Amazing.
Sheila.
Sheila,
Amazing.
we are
You touched
thankful.
us.
We are thankful to have you, believe me. Siggy, I know you asked to talk to Trump after October 7th attack. What was that conversation about? What were you trying to achieve there?
Well, I believe that God uses everybody. We're all vessels for Hashem. And after October 7th, Trump asked me to speak in front of a couple of thousand people in Palm Beach, and I told him I couldn't do it. I couldn't get out of bed, and he wanted me to do it. And the first thing that I said to him is, Mr. President, the first thing we have to do, and I didn't have any makeup on, my face was swollen, I was devastated like everybody else. I said, you have to sign, you have to take a picture of me with my Israeli flag so everybody can see. And when you go up to a president, a candidate, who was a prior president, you're not supposed to bring another country's flag. And Secret Service first approached me and said, Siggy, hold on. And I said, go talk to the president. I really need to take a picture with this Israeli flag. And they came back and said, we need the flag. We would like to iron it and, you know, get the creases out. And when I saw President Trump, I didn't really talk to him. I just cried. And I'm still crying. Wow. Because I know that our women and men are still in tunnels, and God knows what they're doing to our people. But President Trump said, Siggy, listen, I'm going to do my best. And he kept on saying it would have never happened if I was president. And I said, I know that. But now that it did happen, you have to make this a priority. And he says it's always a priority, and we will do everything in our power to get the people home. And I want everybody to know, just like Sheila just said and Tanya, to be brave and to speak out for what is right is liberating. There is no other thing that I would rather talk about than Israel, the state of the world, and President Trump, because it's going to affect your children and your grandchildren. And staying silent, it really doesn't do anything. And every night before I go to sleep, and anytime I want to complain, I think about the hostages. And
yeah,
Siggy, it's okay.
We're totally with you.
Yeah, and we see that President Trump keeps his promise to release the hostages, to try to release the hostages.
Please, God, they all come home as soon as possible.
Amen, amen, amen.
Amen. Sheila, as Siggy, I think, mentioned before, most Jewish Americans traditionally support the Democratic Party. Do you feel there has been a shift in this trend during the most recent elections?
Let me first explain why I think this is. You know, the American Jews typically, you know, are Holocaust survivors or descendants of Holocaust survivors. And for them, the nationalism and that rhetoric, they associate that with the right politically. Whereas the Jews from Iran and Cuba and South America and Russia, we escaped socialism and communism. And so we associate that language with the left. So it depends, I think, where the Jew comes from, and that's going to dictate kind of who they support. But absolutely, I'd like to take 2% credit for shifting a lot of Jews. I've been very loud. I've been ruthless with the facts. Somebody came up to me and said, I did shift. I am going to vote Republican, but can you be a little bit nicer about it? I'm like, no, I can't be nicer about it. I'm like, there's other people who are cute about it. I'm like a hammer to the head with the facts. It's that important. It's that much a matter of survival. And so, yes, I think when you bring the facts, like what Tanya and Siggy have mentioned with the Abraham Accords, adding anti-Semitism to Title IX, standing at multiple conferences with 10 Israeli flags behind him. Did you ever see the other candidate stand on a stage with 10 Israeli flags behind them? I mean, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I just... there was no two bits about it. Trump stood up for the Israeli and Jewish people over and over and over again. Harris would go in front of one crowd and say one thing and go in front of another crowd and say another thing. Two-faced, lying, conniving, would say anything to get your vote. That authenticity factor was not there. So yes, a lot of Jews have switched to the Republican Party. I hope more will switch. I hope that more people will wake up. And I know that these three women on this show with me today are going to be a huge factor in that.
Thank you so much, Sheila. Thank you. Tanya, supporting Trump isn't always a popular choice, especially in the Jewish community. What motivated you to stand by this so publicly with your thoughts about politics and Israel?
Yeah, the choice was really not a choice. As a Jew, we feel in this country that even our safety was being challenged. And as a mom with children on college campuses, it was paramount that I elected a candidate that was going to protect Jewish people as much as any other minority. I think people fail to recognize that Jews make up less than 1% of the world population because of our accomplishments, but we are a minority. And therefore, when you see the world turn against us, there are such few voices standing up for the Jewish people. I feel so humbled and honored to be on this panel with, Sheila and Siggy, who have very bravely used their platforms and their voices to advocate, for Israel and, of course, for fighting anti-Semitism. So when it came to speaking out, this was the first time in my professional career that I ever publicly shared which candidate I was voting for. And I did it because I felt that if I could even sway one person to come over to vote for Trump, then that would have been an impact. And I'm proud to say that, even though Trump only gained 1% of the Jewish vote nationally, Trump increased his Jewish vote in New York State by 50% since 2020. So in 2020, he had 30% of the Jewish vote, and in 2024, he had 45% of the Jewish vote, a 50% increase. And I do believe that that increase was due to people like Siggy and Sheila, and hopefully myself too, that we explained why Trump was a friend to Israel and a friend to the Jews here in the United States. And if those are your values, then there was only one candidate to vote for. I echo what Sheila said, that even though the Democratic Party had always stood for liberal social views and equality for all sexes, sexual orientations, for anyone that was marginalized, and Jews used to fall in that category, there was a lot of double talk on the campaign trail, depending on who the audience was. And I think for many people, especially myself, when there was a threat to withhold arms from Israel, that to me was the turning point where I could never go back. The United States should always present as an unwavering ally to Israel, and to suggest that we would not give Israel what it needs to eradicate a terrorist organization, which they are doing on behalf of the world, was so disheartening to me. And there was no way I could ever vote for a candidate that would ever threaten Israel's future.
So we talk here a lot about motivation, your motivation behind your actions. Sheila, as someone who fled Iran at young age. And Siggy, as the daughter of a Holocaust survivor, how do your personal histories shape your advocacy today? We can start with you, Siggy.
Well, I grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. We moved there from Israel. And I remember at Kiddush every Friday night, my father would repeat story after story after story about the Holocaust. And I would say to my father, Lama kol hasipurim haele? Why do you keep repeating the same stories? We're in America, Daddy. We're safe. So for those who don't know, my father ran Yad Vashem's Righteous Gentile Division for over 25 years. And at 7 years old, he was saved by a priest in Evian, France. Him and his entire family, 7 brothers and sisters. A priest had helped them cross the border from Evian into Switzerland. And in Cherry Hill, I used to always say, Daddy, we're safe, we're in America. And he said, Siggy, anti-Semitism is like cancer. It stays dormant, but when it comes out, and it will come out, because every once in a while the cancer comes out, I want to make sure that you're strong enough to look at it in the face and defeat it. And I said, Daddy, we have nothing to worry about. We're loved in America. The Holocaust will never happen again. And look where we are today, where our children are afraid to wear their chais or their Magen David, where Jews are being persecuted, where look at what's happening in Europe. Look what's happening in all over the United States in our colleges. So at that point, I knew it was very, very important for me to get up and stand out and speak out and say, yes, we are 0.2% of the world's population. We are only 15 million in the world. Our enemies don't think we have a right to exist. And I'm here to tell you that not only are we the most beautiful people in the world and the smartest people in the world, Israelis in general, mostly Israelis, what the Israelis have created in a land that has no oil underneath it is absolutely remarkable. From netafim to robotics to the tech to, if you're using a phone, it was probably created by an Israeli, to the scan disk, to Waze. Israelis are incredible people. And to see them living amongst monsters who don't think that they have a right to exist, I said, I don't care. I'm going to come out full force with the wrath of the Jewish, hell hath no fury like a Jewish woman. You will not touch my people. You will not touch my children. And if I lose my life tomorrow, I lose my life in the way that I want to lose my life. There is nothing that makes me more proud than to stand up for the Jewish people in the state of Israel.
Thank you, Siggy. And I know that many people have suffered so much backlash since supporting Trump and Israel. Siggy, I know you turned off your notifications or the option of commenting on your stories or posts. Why is that? Have you dealt with personal threats?
No. Have I gotten threats? No. I think that my popularity has gained. I have gotten no hate. And the hate that I'm talking about, I'm going to explain to you. Every institution in America has been hijacked by jihad. Every institution in America, from CVS to the schools to social media to our government, has been hijacked by jihad. And there are a lot of bots out there that say, yes, you're a kike, you're a Jew, I want you dead. I pay no attention to that. But I will not give jihad a platform on my social media. My social media I use to put out information, to put out pictures, to put out what I want you to see. I'm not interested in your comments. I'm not interested in having dialogue. If you want to have dialogue with me, send me a DM. I'll respond to you, and then we could go on from there. But what a lot of people are doing is they leave their comments on, and all the bots and all the jihadis come out there with their free Palestine from the river to the sea. Not interested in that. Not interested in the BS. I'm very, very serious about what I do. I'm very passionate about what I feel. And I feel like I have a phenomenal life because I do not allow toxic energy in my life. And that starts with social media. I can't be on every day because I'm not like Tanya and I'm like Sheila. They're very, very classy, well-spoken ladies. I'm a fighter. So if somebody comes on and says from the river to the sea, I'm going to respond in a way that I can't repeat right now.
You
So for
surprised me with that
it's-
answer. That was an interesting answer. I thought it's like you got threats, something happened, you know?
No, this is Siggy.
This is amazing.
Not at all. Because the way that I respond is like an Israeli. I'll take out my F-22 and my F-16. I will take out my beeper, and we will not find you. or your
And the private jet. We saw you there on the images with Donald Trump doing a selfie.
You know, last week, Donald Trump and Elon Musk were having dinner. So he turns around and he says, Siggy, are you happy? Are you happy? I said, Mr. President, I'm very, very happy. I am very, very happy. I've been waiting for this moment for 8 years. I'm very happy. But let me just tell you something. I'm Israeli. You don't mess with Israeli. I'm like the Mossad. Anybody goes near you, the beepers come out, the F-16s, the jets come out. Nobody messes with my president or my people or my country. And Elon Musk says, thank God I love the Jewish people in Israel so much. I know where she gets that chutzpah from. It's something that's instilled in me. I don't give toxic energy an inch to come into my life. Wow. Nothing.
Great to hear. Sheila, based on your personal relationship with Trump, what kind of president do you think he will be for Israel this time? We know he has been vocal about his support for us, but he had also had moments of tension with the Israeli leadership, particularly with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
I wish I had a personal relationship with Trump. I don't. I think Siggy's the one with the personal relationship, but you know, I think that these issues are really, really complicated. I think the things that he for sure is going to do is bankrupt Iran so that, you know, there isn't all of this money to be given to the proxy terrorist organizations to be attacking Israel, which is great. I know he's going to be giving the 2,000-pound bombs to Israel, and those are the bunker busters to really be able to do some damage to the nuclear program if they need to. I don't think he's going to stand in the way of Israel and their right to defend themselves. Do I think he's going to send troops and, you know, want war? No. He has said many times that he is a president of peace through strength. But I don't think he's going to handicap Israel the way that the prior administration did. I don't think he's, you know, we always say America doesn't negotiate with terrorists, but we expect Israel to negotiate with terrorists. Everyone's calling this hostage situation a hostage deal. It's hostage extortion. It's not a deal. You know, if somebody comes and, God forbid, steals a child and then you pay ransom to get your child back, that's not a deal. That's extortion. And so I think, again, Donald Trump has shown that he is a good friend to Israel. He's not going to handicap Israel. He's not going to be paying both sides. You know, what the Biden administration did is they lifted sanctions on Iran. Iran is $150 billion wealthier since Biden came into office than when Trump was in office. And they've used that money to do things not just, you know, in the Middle East. A lot of the campus protests here in the United States, we found, were funded by Iran. And I have to tell you, when the revolution started in Iran, it started on the campuses. There was flashbangs going off right here next to my window at UCLA. And there's a lot of Persian Jews in Westwood, right around UCLA. And they said this is exactly what it sounded like in Iran when the revolution was happening. PTSD. So they're using the same playbook to create chaos and division here in the US, just like they did it in Iran. And we can't fund Iran. We have to bankrupt Iran. And then we let the Iranian people do what they want to do themselves. So I think, again, Trump is not going to stand in the way. He's not going to handicap people who want democracy and freedom in the Middle East.
So I'll shift the question and ask you, Siggy, a similar one. Many see Trump as a businessman first, often emphasizing a more, let's call it, isolationist America's first policy. And unlike Biden, he doesn't self-identify as a Zionist. From your experience, your conversations with Donald Trump, how significant is Israel to him?
Israel's very significant to Donald Trump. You see, I believe actions speak louder than words. The first thing that we have to remember that when Donald Trump was president, like Sheila just said, Iran was broke. He bankrupted them. And he also bankrupted the Palestinian Authority. They stopped, you see, when you stop funding pay for slay, you're stopping funding the killing of innocent Israelis. So for those people out there who don't know what pay for slay is, when you're living in Gaza and you don't have money to put, food to put on the table, if you go out and kill a Jew, you are rewarded $3,600 a month. The more Jews you kill, the more money you make. So it's an incentive to go out there and hunt Jews. That's why on October 7th, they were carrying the heads of our soldiers and trying to sell them for $10,000. It's the sickest society. It's the sickest ideology. Who stopped pay for slay? Donald Trump. Who recognized the Golan Heights, which is very, very crucial to Israel? Donald Trump. Who bankrupted Iran and said to Iran, we're not going to fall, you're going to fall? Donald Trump. Who recognized sovereignty in Judea and Samaria? Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a man of little words and all action. I love the fact that he's a businessman. He runs America like a business. He runs the world like a business. And right now, second time around, it's going to be the Abraham Accords on steroids. What they are planning to do in the Middle East will bring such peace and prosperity, because you have to remember that there are Arab nations who do not like the jihadis. They don't want the Houthis and the Hezbollah and the Hada of the Middle East. They're done with it. And they are coming on board, and we will have peace in the Middle East, which no one thought was possible. That is Donald Trump's dream. That is what he's working on currently. He is going to bring peace to the Middle East, and he's going to wipe out all these little tentacles of Iran, starting with Hezbollah, which Israel already, did 90% of that. But Hamas still has a strong hand in Gaza, and it is imperative that every Israeli in Israel, whether you're on the left or the right, stop it. You got to stop it. We have got to join. Before October 7th, everybody thought that the Palestinians really wanted peace. They loved us. They really just wanted simple lives. And you saw what happened on October 7th. It's impossible to have peace with the Palestinians because from the age of 3, they are taught that Jews are like dogs and they must die. We do not have a right to exist in their eyes. A strong Israel is the only Israel where my grandchildren and Tanya's grandchildren and Sheila's grandchildren can go visit our only Jewish homeland and be free. We must secure Israel and its borders, and it starts now with Donald Trump as president.
Amazing. Tell me, looking forward, what message would you like to share with the Jewish Americans who are afraid to come out publicly with their beliefs and support for Israel, for Trump? That's for all of you.
I think, Trump said it best. It's the dawn of a new day. And standing proudly in our Jewish identity is the greatest act of defiance that Jews can make right now. That it shows that we are not afraid. We are not backing down. We are here to stay forever. And, Siggy said it best. What's so special about the Jewish people is our connection to Tikkun Olam. It is so ingrained in who we are to leave the world a better place than we found it, which is why you see so many Jews behind some of the greatest innovations, in the past century. And I think that this administration is ushering in a decade now of Jewish people feeling safe again to stand proudly in their Jewish identity and to fight the good fight. And I just want to say it is such an honor to stand and walk by the sides of these amazing women. So thank you both for inspiring me to fight the good fight with you.
Tanya, I know you had a personal loss or, dealing with a lot of personal issues around that. So thank you so much for still doing it.
Thank you. The losses are painful. I did lose tens of thousands of followers, and I have lost one of my dear friends who was a bridesmaid in my wedding. I can't believe a 30-year friendship that came to an end because of my decision to be outspoken in my support of Trump. But I echo what Siggy said. Israel's facing an existential crisis, and as Jews, we have a moral obligation to do whatever is needed to support Israel. And I believe the work we are doing as Jewish people by supporting Donald Trump is God's work. And therefore, any friendships that have lost, God has chosen to take those people out of my life. And I'm very lucky to say that by being true to myself and my values, I have attracted new friends like Sheila and Siggy, who I've known, where, it's a new community for me of beautiful, like-minded, strong women, and really allies in what is now the fight of our life. And when I say that, it sounds dramatic, but I think that the events of the past year and a half, especially what happened on October 7th, especially seeing the display of global anti-Semitism, every voice matters right now. Oh. We must stand together, and we must use our platforms or whatever resources we have to fight anti-Semitism here in the United States and show our friends and family, our brothers and sisters in Israel, that they have our unwavering support. You are not alone.
Wow, Tanya, Sheila, Siggy, it was so empowering to talk with you.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the amazing work you girls are doing for the Jewish people and the country of Israel.
Thank you.
Thank you.